So call to order the July 12th meeting of the HVAC IAQ Building Committee meeting. The recording start?
Recorder has started.
Started, okay. So rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sal.
You're welcome.
The only voice I could hear was Sal's this morning. All right.
Yeah.
Now I get a motion to
That's what they
approve
say at my condo board meeting.
Is that what they? They throw me softballs now. We go a lot of places, I'm sure. A motion to approve the July 28th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from July 28th.
I'll second the motion.
July 28th or June 28th?
June, I'm sorry, June 28th.
20th.
The summer's going by fast enough. We don't need to push it any farther, right?
Please.
Yeah.
We got work. We got work to do.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks in your schedule.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Project updates for phase 1. Osborne Hill.
I'll start off and
Chair.
then I'll turn it over to Gil Bain. We have a meeting on Monday with the FPS staff and the custodians at each school. We began with about 2 weeks ago discussing the end of summer coordination, and this is just a follow up with the custodians, just figuring out turnover, what rooms are going to be turned over when, and so they have time for their stripping and waxing of the classrooms before and getting them ready for the start of school. So that's Monday. We did receive one RFP for commissioning for Pitt's House that we are reviewing right now, and we'll scope them, and we should have that set for next meeting. And we do have the security vestibules are out to bid. We have 2 firms that I know they're interested because one has already sent an RFI in, and we're going to get a second set of RFIs from another firm. So with that, the bids are due on the 18th. We're going to extend that to the 25th, make sure we get at least good coverage, or at least 2 bids for that work. And then the only other item I had is what I sent out last night about the utility pole relocation. And Mark Bellantoni's on with Gil Bain, so I know he was there when UI was there. So I'll lead it off, Mark, and jump in.
Sure.
I guess UI was there on Wednesday. As they were inspecting the conduits for the electrical room, they mentioned that the existing utility pole next to the tennis courts is going to be essentially a new pole is going to be placed in lieu of that one. The conduits for the new electrical room at Woods was already run, so this will mean that the conduits will need to be redirected to this new utility pole location. The cost of the project is the relocation of the new conduits, not the pole itself or any of that.
What's the anticipated cost of that?
We're looking into excavation.
Mark.
Oh yeah. So we have some additional asphalt cutting. We have probably about 25 feet of excavation. That's over to the location that UI is planning on moving the pole. In addition, we have some added pipe So that's, I mean, we'll have to get estimates from Ferguson Electric and Darling Construction.
Probably between 25 to 35K. So around,
25,000 bucks.
based on what we've seen numbers before. That's a very rough estimate. But to give you in perspective, 25 to 35,000.
And is this
100 or 1,000?
Is this pole being moved
1,000 bucks
specifically
a foot?
because of our project, or is it being moved from a UI? They wanted to move it.
I have the UI engineer coming out today. I will ask him that question. He did not give me that information. He said that his field techs that came out on site want the pole moved to the open area in the island near the stop sign of the parking lot. So I can ask him that question, but I don't know the answer to, I don't have an answer to give you.
Hey, Mark, just to jump in, how critical is this? I know we want to make sure the numbers get presented that are fine, not really estimate if possible. How critical is it? Is it something that we can, that's vetted through, get the right pricing, negotiated, and present it in the next meeting? Is that do we have that kind of timeline, or is this like super critical, needs to happen like as soon as possible?
Is that to me, Mark, Tony?
Yes.
It's not, I mean, I can, the way we have it set up right now, I can stop the excavation where it is right now. So where it is right now is turned left to the existing pole.
Yeah.
I can stop it there, put a witness there, and then we can turn it right after we decide, you know, the pricing and all that.
Yeah, I think plus I'm sure Jesse is in the loop as it relates to this added scope, the design team. And I don't want to speak for you, Jesse. You're looped into this request.
We just saw it from Gilbane, I think, yesterday for the first time.
Yeah,
but yes,
I
mean,
totally understand.
It's how the utilities coordinate this stuff. You know, they'll coordinate parts of it in design, but they don't coordinate all of it in design. They wait till they see everything out in the field.
Got it, and that's fine. I'm just trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. So why don't we table this issue? Let's do some due diligence on it next week. Get the right, Jesse, look at it as soon as, now that you've seen it, if you're in alignment with it, we'll send it out for pricing, get better pricing on it, and then present it to this body next week, if that's okay. I don't know. It sounds like from a field perspective, it's not something we need action on today.
No, correct. And then just to ease everyone's mind, as we complete and, you know, kind of backfill and asphalt, the driveway will be accessible. We will then have to open it up again, but that can be, you know, kind of coordinated with school activities. But once we are done, you know, with this little bit of work, and we do not cut across to the new pole location, everything will be backfilled and asphalted, patched.
Okay. Yeah, there's no real ask right now, except I guess you guys may actually start just. I'm just trying to understand the driver and understand who's.
Yep.
You know, for example, if we weren't doing this project, would they still be moving the pole? Would they be leaning in, and who would be responsible for the conduit move if that were the scenario?
Yeah, that's
okay. All right. So more to be discovered. So there's no action today, and we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll get to the ATPs at some point. But yeah, I would say let us do some due diligence on this one. Jesse, if you're good with that direction, just let us know. We'll continue to chase the pricing and fine tune it a little bit better. Michelina, you think you'll be able to get pricing sometime next week to present for Friday?
Yes, we already asked the Trace to expedite pricing so we can present it.
Yes. Because I'd rather see the hard number than try to shoot from an order of magnitude, because it is significant dollars. Okay. Sorry about that.
All right. Any other updates, Mark, from you? Or handing it over to Tim?
No, and this was just being presented as information. It wasn't any approval or anything. Just, so, with that, I am all set. I'll turn it over to Gilbane for the construction update.
Thank you. So, Mark Valentoni, you've probably heard him already. So I'm going to have him walk you through each school in progress, and Michelina and I will tag team on presentation of the ATPs and any other questions. So, Mark, go ahead. You might unmute, maybe.
Mark or Tim?
Tim is away on vacation this week.
Oh,
but
he's got his
I
back.
heard Mark.
Got it.
Michelina, is Mark next to you?
Yes. Can you guys hear us?
Faintly, but go ahead. Maybe get closer to the mic, please. You there? No, a little choppy. You'll lose a signal.
Oh, now.
Not really.
Not really.
We could hear you before, but not now.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they play
Try
with that.
calling in on a cell.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try to do the best I can until they dial in. Obviously, the MEP trades are well underway with ductwork. Line sets for the VRFs are coming next Monday. Ductwork is going up. Ceilings are starting in about a week. Hopefully, Mark affirms that. Roofer on North Stratfield are well underway with demolition of roofing system as well. Kind of giving you an overall overview, not anything specific. Demo, obviously, generally speaking, is behind us for the phase that we're currently working in. Mark, jump in anytime once your mic is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
we can. Go ahead.
Sorry about
Take
that.
it
We
over.
had, I don't know why you could hear me before, and then all of a sudden you couldn't hear me. So yeah, as Amar was saying, so over at Osborne, we have duct being installed. Some duct was delivered yesterday, and so they're installing duct in the corridors at Osborne. We have ABS doing control wiring, getting ready for, once we start putting the units on and getting T-stats going. Ferguson Electric pulling branch wiring in the corridors. Ferguson Electric is also getting light wires ready in classrooms. So we will be starting grid at Osborne 7/22, which is the week after next, so following Monday. So they're also removing lights that are, that can be removed in the classrooms, preparing for the new stuff going on. Over at Fairfield Woods, as of right now, as we talked about, so the primary trench work is going on. We have the primaries going in, and we discussed that a few minutes ago. We also have duct going on the second floor, so corridors are going in. We also have condensate piping, which is complete. We have duct that is complete on the first floor, including branches into the classrooms for the DOAS units and the VAVs, and the sound attenuators are coming. Insulators are starting next week over at Fairfield Woods, so they'll start insulating supply duct as well as condensate piping. We have line sets, so refrigeration lines have been run to the new units through the classrooms on the second floor. We are also have started grid, so ceiling grid has started at Fairfield Woods. We have the corridor by the auditorium and the gym is complete. We have the wood shop room complete. We have started in 4 classrooms on the second floor, and by the end of next week, the second floor will be complete with grid. Once grid is complete, the electricians are going behind them and installing lights. We also have new fan coils being installed in classrooms on the first floor, since we're not doing them on the second floor, keeping those in place, the existing ones. So that's the main work and the milestone of our ceiling grid being installed. Yesterday was a little bit ahead of schedule, so we were actually working on that for Monday. So we were a couple days early on that, which helps us out in our schedule for the rest of the job.
And as it relates to materials lead time, we're still tracking to the end of March on switch gears, and we'll continue to update you on those. And rooftop units have been released as well. I don't know, Michelina, if we have, are those on track? I don't recall the dates when they're arriving. Maybe if you have that.
Switch gear, you have.
Michelina, did we lose you?
Yes. No, I'm here.
Okay. Just any
regards
updates on RTUs? Yep. Go ahead.
So on material status, most items have been released. We just received the last handful of attenuators that needed to be revised. There were 3 for Fairfield Woods and 1 for North Stratfield. That submittal just came in yesterday. Should be in BL's core at this point. Those are the 3 we needed resubmission on. In regards to the switchgear, we are tracking delivery March 24th to 2025 for the 3 schools. And that's an encompass with the changes provided during the coordination study. Speaking of the coordination study, we are diligently working on getting final pricing from Ferguson Electric in regards to the upgrades to some of the panel boards for some of the switch gears. I believe the 3 of them have some changes happening to them, which they have been released, and it's just a matter of providing pricing. VRF, we are getting them. Clearly, we get deliveries every week moving forward for the release. And that's what we have. Everything else on schedule at this point. Nothing has been delayed material-wise.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, happy to answer any questions as it relates to progress. Okay.
No questions on phase 1? Okay, moving on. Phase 2 through 5. Any updates, Mark?
The biggest one is we have received the cost estimate from Gilbane. In turn, I will be taking these numbers and putting them into the budget, and I will report final budgets. I'll send out final budget numbers for phase 2 through 5 next week.
Okay, any questions, Rodney or Joe? Anything from you guys on updates?
No, not yet.
Okay. Moving on to approvals.
ATPs, we have about 15 of them. The first one is for information only. It was
Mark,
a
I'm sorry,
ATP
just
that
really
was
quick. What's just the decode for us, the yellow versus the white?
Okay, the white is the ones that were sent out for the June 28th meeting, and the yellow are new.
Okay.
So I separated them out that way. So the first one up is ATP 002R1, and this is for information only. And it is a previous ATP that was an estimate, and these are the final numbers. Previously, the building committee approved $11,195, and the cost came in at $86.52.
Okay.
The next one is the existing sprinkler heads. This is an allowance. It is also an estimate, and I'll turn it over to Gilbane.
So go ahead, Michelina, on this one. It's fairly straightforward. As you recall, our original allowance that was set up within the GMP itself, this is not a change order. We had a $75,000 allowance that basically this body has authorized $12,000 in the past. And we needed authorization to expend the rest of this allowance because obviously work is ongoing. So there's zero cost to the GMP itself, or there's not a change order, just looking for this body to authorize the balance of this allowance so we can utilize it for the work that's there for modifying this existing sprinkler heads as we remove ceilings and do the demo, which is obviously substantially done. So that's really all it is just reconciling the cost as far as authorization. Happy to take any questions on this one. We had the similar allowance with each school, by the way. Okay.
Okay,
This is just for this school.
This is just for this particular Fairfield Woods. We're just asking for Fairfield Woods to authorize the balance of this allowance.
but Amar, you don't have any direct work against it yet. You're just looking to, because previous authorization's been expended, you're looking to open up more money.
Jeff, we actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, yes.
So this amount, 63,000, will bring us to a conclusion with the sprinkler heads, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that will bring us to what we are expecting for work to be completed this summer. That's correct, Rodney.
Okay.
And is this allowance?
Well, you said this summer. What about the rest of the project?
We're gonna have to track it and see how the cost shakes out on that one. At the time, it was because the ceilings were all enclosed, Rodney, it was difficult to kind of put a dollar amount on this one as far as because it's all temporary work and how was going to be the approach. So we allocated an allowance of $75,000 per school. And because it's not a biddable item, we couldn't bid it to kind of come because it's being done when it's going to be done and how to quantify it was very difficult to do so. So we carried 75,000 at the time. We thought it was an appropriate amount to carry for this phase, and we're going to have to probably come in and visit, get an estimated amount for the next phase from you, from this body, when we have or now that we know what we need to do for this phase, and the effort will probably better put a better estimate on the phase 2 part of the Fairfield Woods. And we have, however, on the other schools, I believe, and Michelina, correct me if I'm wrong, we're trending very well as far as expenditure on against that 75,000. Fairfield Woods happened to be probably the one that had most exposure. So
That's
we
correct.
can do two things. We can back out some of that allowance for phase 2 from the other school, put it in this one. Or authorize more, and then we give the credit, whatever this body wishes to do.
So that 75,000 is the entire allowance for Fairfield Woods for phase 1?
Yes, sir.
Or the sprinkler heads.
No, for the entire project.
For the entire project for Fairfield Woods for the school itself, $75,000. That's all we had.
I see.
So what they're looking at is for phase 2. We could be on the hook for additional monies.
Correct.
We probably will be on the hook for additional monies.
Yes, that's correct. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Can we go back to the ATPs? So I will make a motion to approve ATP 003R3, modify sprinkler heads. There's no sum there, but it was $63,000,
Which is the balance of the allowance.
which is the balance of the allowance, correct?
Yeah, I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? I lost Rodney. I'm sorry, Rodney. I think I said that as I looked at you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Yeah, I'm having connectivity issues today for some reason. I'm hardwired and I keep losing signal.
Okay, so that motion passes. Moving on to ATP 010.
Existing conditions, corrections by the AHJ. This encompasses a couple different items as they were going through phase 1, just existing conditions above the ceiling that they are asking, AHJ is asking, so requesting be corrected.
Which generally, this is once the ATP pops up, I'll walk you through it, and Michelina jump in at any time. So it's very normal, if you will, when we open up ceilings in existing schools, looking at previous construction and walking the authority having jurisdiction, whether it's the fire marshal or building official, they see things that they want corrected. So this ATP pretty much, we can zoom in on the mark if you can zoom in a little tighter so kind of see the bullets. So obviously this captures several items, existing items that have to be addressed. And we obviously, this is an estimated ATP. We don't have hard numbers. Some of them might end up being T&M. Some of it could be priced hard pricing, if you will. And this particular one, Michelina, is this pertaining to a certain school? Which school is this?
Fairfield Woods only.
Okay. So this is for Fairfield Woods. Yeah, you're breaking up. This is for Fairfield Woods. And as you could see, basically, we have an RFI response from the design team as it relates to plaster skylight surrounds. And this has been reviewed with Jesse and his team. Some insulation boards, delamination on the exterior perimeter that they've seen they want addressed. There's wood slats also they want to be addressed because it's not rated. So it's something that we have to address as well, BRFI 47. And obviously there's some electrical conduits infrastructure. They do not want us to be reusing those, and they want them to be removed completely per the RFI again. So that's kind of byproduct of those particular renovations that we encounter. So that's what this change order represents.
Mark, just for clarification,
yes, sir.
What do you mean by they want? Who is they?
We walk the building, maybe it's the building official and the fire marshal in town. Which is the authority having jurisdiction, the AHJ. And Mark, maybe you can elaborate because he walked through with those. Go ahead, Mark.
I can jump in, Amar. It's Mark.
Yes.
So when we were doing demo, first phase, first floor demo, second floor demo overnights, and came back the next morning with the fire marshal and the building official to inspect that everything was, rehung properly and ready for school, students, staff. They noticed in basically every location that there were things left in the ceiling from previous work, wood slats attached to the bar joists. There were conduits that were empty that were not removed. So these things were flagged by them pretty much every morning during our second shift demo when they came back the next morning to look at the scenario where we were leaving the schools, the classrooms. So these are things that they asked us to have removed.
So we're correcting the evils of past construction. Wonderful.
Generally speaking, yes.
It's very typical on every renovation job that they open the ceilings and there's things that I had struggles with this before, just like you, Rodney. It's like, well, somebody looked at that once before and said it was okay. Why is it all of a sudden not? And
different fire marshals, different building inspector.
Different set of eyes. 20 years later. And you've been in construction long enough to know how the code is moving.
I have a project up here where we had 3 different inspectors, same condition, 2 approved, 1 didn't. Same condition, absolutely same condition.
Yeah, very normal for us.
So anyway, thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome.
No worries.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve ATP 010 for Fairfield Woods, modify the existing conditions corrections by AHJ, the amount of $30,534.
Well, this is an estimate, right?
Estimated.
Yes, it's estimated. Yes, sir.
I would say estimated.
Estimated, agreed.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is unanimously. All right, jumping to the next ones, Joe and Ron.
Site restoration.
Did you guys have a chance to look at these? Do you want to go into these?
I looked at them.
Okay, so pressing on, Mark.
Okay. 8 is, well, site restoration. This is one for all 3 schools. There's an allowance in the contract for site restoration due to the construction. Gilbane has put forward an ATP for if there's anything that needs to be taken care of prior to the start of school. This is for site restoration. This is what it would be like. In discussions with Gilbane, it's going to be basically per request of Fairfield Public Schools or the building committee. And it's just going to be for areas that we're not going to touch again because we don't want to restore it for the school year and then come back next summer and do the same thing again. So it is, the 3 of them are, there's a $10,000 allowance for each school, and Gilbane is requesting a ATP of 5,000. So it'll leave a balance of 5,000 in the allowance.
So effectively, we're asking for authorization of half of that $10,000 at each school. And that's why those ATPs are reflected as such. So we'll come back to you. If we have to expend the other half, we'll have to come back to you again and ask for authorization.
So it's 10,000 for each school. That's 30,000. You're asking for 5,000 from each school, correct? So it's 15. So
yes, sir.
Okay.
So Rodney, it's actually it's ATP 008 line 6. It's line 15, ATP 010, and it's line 22.
Oh, okay.
ATP
I
006.
All right. I see what's going on. I'm a little slow.
No, I said Mark. Yeah, Omar's bundling it, and Mark broke it out by school. So we've got the 3.
There you go.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the estimated ATPs for site restoration, ATP number 008, 010, and 006 in the amount of $15,000.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay. The next one is ATP 13 for RFI 39, the air vapor barrier at the electrical room foundation wall. This is coming out of contingency, and this is estimated. There is
What's remaining in the contingency? Okay.
I would have to look that up. That is
All right. Don't worry about it. Just let's move forward.
Rodney, I can get you that number, but we are well within.
Yeah, so generally speaking, fairly self-explanatory. This one at Fairfield Woods, the electrical room itself, right at the foundation areas. And this is basically a response to R539. And it is estimated as well because the work is ongoing now. We'll just finalize this cost once we receive all the quotes and validate the quotes.
Okay. So we get a
All right,
motion
I'll make
on 013.
I'll make a motion to accept ATP 013, electrical room foundation walls for an estimated cost of $3,272.00.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Good. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
ATP 14, RFI 41, the concrete encasement of the conduits. This was discussed at the last meeting. This is a requirement of UI that any conduits in a drivable surface need to be either in rigid concrete conduits or encased in concrete.
So the question I have is, why wasn't this picked up on the design docs?
You're doing it again, Rodney. You're pulling my thoughts out of my head.
Sorry, Jeff.
That's okay. Good.
Okay, this one's complicated, and there's some lessons learned about coordinating bid RFIs here. So we tried to coordinate this with UI during design, got as much information as we could, which we still weren't sure. So we, during bidding for the project in February, we went back and forth with the UI yet again and determined that concrete encasing of the primary conduits was required. So we responded to the bid RFI that concrete encasement of the primary conduits, which is what this is, should be included in the bids. It appears to me, and we can't prove this because of the way the RFIs were handled, but I believe it's true. Even though we said include that in the bids, I don't believe Gilbane did that, and I think they said they're going to do it at change order pricing during construction. So that's how I see it. It was just the way it was handled, as we discovered this back in February while the bids were happening. So my experience is, if you determine things like this in bids, you can tell the contractors and say, hey, include this in your bid, so that it's in the project.
Mm-hmm.
And if this body wishes happy, let me go back and dig up the history on this one. Mark and Magdalena, how critical is this needs to happen?
It's
This
already,
is happening now.
it's already,
It's an exposure at this point.
yes.
Okay, so that's fine. Obviously, we have to encase it regardless. So
Yep,
if
definitely.
those are the facts, yeah, that's fine. So we know we have to encase it with concrete. So that's a requirement. So we cannot delete it, obviously. Let me, my recommendation, Jeff, please table this one. Let me do some digging on this one a little bit. I'm not super familiar with the history on this topic. So
Okay.
if it's okay with this body, table it until I get the opportunity to review it, discuss it with Jesse, and we will represent it to you, depending on how the outcome of this research, if that's okay with this body. Just keep in mind, we are proceeding, we are putting concrete in because we have to do the work anyways.
And is this included in the bids for phase 2.2 through 5, or the cost estimates, not the bids, but the budget estimates? If there's any content.
I have to look at the estimate. It probably was too early. We're doing schematic design, square foot design. So right now we're just, when we get the DD set, and that's something Jesse at the DD level maybe detail it as such so we can capture it in the estimate. In the schematic design, it's a very much higher level estimate. It doesn't drive into that details, but we'll verify that the DD phase to make sure that that is included.
Yeah, it's already on the drawings for the DD phase, or will be.
Good.
Okay.
We've coordinated
Excellent.
that just through just through what happened here on this one.
Right.
You know,
Just make sure we don't repeat things. That's all. Okay.
I would just
Yeah.
like to mention one more thing. This will be happening also on North Stratfield and Osborne Hill. This
So
condition is just at Fairfield Woods. The
this
pricing
is going to
presented
be
here,
considerably more.
correct. We just haven't started that work yet in the other two schools. I mean, starting next week, but yes.
Yeah, that's allow me the opportunity, if the body's
Absolutely.
okay with it.
Right.
Similar,
To be able to-
are the conduit runs of similar length to the other schools?
Yes, in general, maybe a little shorter, but in general, they're all the same.
Order of magnitude similar to this. So we
Yes, correct.
very good. We're not going across any big parking lots or anything differently. Okay.
No, not
No,
different.
I think the phase two schools are gonna be the ones that have significantly longer primary runs for new services. So that's why we want to make sure that we don't have this pop up again. You know, just resolve it in a way that we can all handle it, get it included, get it bidded and all that.
Okay.
Well, it's a pretty big problem, pretty costly problem.
Yes. Yeah, we're talking 60.
I mean, generally speaking, the if effect that we didn't buy it, you're paying potentially for just the premium portion where you bought it in the bid. If the way Jesse described it, we never bought it effectively. So unfortunately, it's being priced at a little bit of a premium right now, in lieu of being under competition.
Yeah, at a complete guess, say, I don't know, 15-20% of the price is the change order cost versus having it included in the bids.
Right. So it's not totally $18,000. You know, it's at a premium being priced right now, unfortunately. But let's table it and move on.
Well, it's 18,000 coming out of our contingency.
Right. Yeah. Regardless of how we get there, it's still almost.
You can't pass that. You can't pass that one off on me like that.
No,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
agree.
It's a cost that was not accounted for in our bid price that we went to the boards with.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mar, we look forward to your clarification.
Yes.
All right, moving on, North Stratfield. Electrical.
North Stratfield, ATP 006 RFI 7 electrical KAIC rating increase. This was discussed, I believe, back in May or April already, where with the load study, it was found that the gear needed to be upgraded from the typical, and I'm gonna get this wrong, typical like 60 to, and the load coming across from UI is like at 6, you know, if it was at 60, it was at the load coming across at 69, so the gear had to be bumped up to a 75 versus a 60.
That's correct. It's I think, Jesse, I don't know if there's any, I think it's detailed in the ATP itself. And that, correct me if I'm wrong, that's for this one particular school only, correct, Mark?
Yes.
Say that again?
It's this cost is just for is it Osborne, Miguelina? Or
Yes.
North Stratfield?
The KIC
It's
rating.
North Stratfield.
North Stratfield.
North Stratfield.
North Stratfield.
Correct.
Thank you. So it's kind of self-explanatory. You can see the description right there. Go ahead, Jesse. Sorry.
So basically, you know, utility company coordination, a lot of this will not happen until CA. So we cannot get this information from them ahead of time. So we specify the 65,000 KAIC equipment, which is standard. Most projects will use that. Then you get this information from the utility, which says that 65,000 is not high enough. So then it has to be increased at that point. It's not something I would never recommend including the higher ratings at the start, because it doesn't happen often enough to need that.
And this is it's a quoted number. This is not an estimate.
I'm just gonna ask that question. If it's still an estimate, when would we know the real numbers if it's been, because it has been kicking around for a few months? But you've
No,
used
this
this-
one is a hard, scroll down, it's a hard number, I believe, or scroll up. Yeah, I believe this is a hard number. Oh, it says estimated. Michelina, is this estimated also?
That one is estimated. We actually received pricing yesterday afternoon, but the ATP is already out on curve, so.
So how close is it to the estimate?
I believe it's 2,500, the actual exposure right now, based on the quote that I saw yesterday.
Oh, so it's a lower number. So
Much
instead
lower,
of
yeah.
4,500, it came in about 2,500, Jeff. So we'll obviously, if the body here wishes to authorize this, and then we'll show you the next meeting, we'll show you the revised figure, just like we did with the earlier one today.
Yeah. Okay, so moving along, so make a motion to approve for North Stratfield, ATP 006, or RFI 007 electrical KAIC rating increase, an estimated value of $4,907. Can I get a second to the motion? Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
ATP 8 for North Stratfield, RFI 12, MA3 panel location. Gilbane, do you want to take this one?
Sure. This one in particular is where the electrical panel MA3 will be located. And currently, it's a storage in one of the classroom. I believe there's some photos, if you can scroll down to the RFI, showing how the classroom is currently cluttered and needs to be cleared out. And the directive is to obviously remove all those items from the closet, demolish the existing shelf, and make sure obviously we have enough clearance for the new panel. This is essentially where the new panel is going to be located. That's the clearance, and you guys can see the existing photo of the closet.
What is the remediation? What is the replacement going to look like? If I assume that this storage unit, I'll call it that, shelving unit, is blocking the panel today.
Correct. It's a surround. It's currently the entire room, as you see on the photos. The very first photo, I think it shows from the outside, opening the door. The very first photo. Go two more back. There you go. And literally to the right, we need to have the new panel there.
That hole in the, oh, that's the door.
To the right, yep. So opening the door to the right, that's where the new panel needs to go. And we need 36 inches clearance, which is infringing right now with the shelving that needs to be removed.
So the entire shelving is pretty much going to be, it looks like it's something that was put together with just 2 buys. So we'll have to remove, clean it up, and I'm assuming this is a surface mounted panel, not a recessed panel, Michelina?
That's correct. Recess panel.
Okay.
It should be just removing the piece of the shelving and the rest of it remains.
Demo. Is that basically the demo number? Basically, what do you have for breakdown of costs on that one, if you don't mind?
Estimated cost is currently the demoing of the shelving.
And disposal.
Correct.
And the custodian's time to move the stuff. I assume that they would be moving everything.
The school should be moving.
The school is moving the stuff to
Yeah.
the new location. I don't know the location where they're moving that, so.
And code requires how much around the panel? 3 feet in every direction? So
36
that entire wall becomes unusable for
36
storage.
36 inches in front of the panel and 30 to the sides, right?
No, it's only, Jeff, it's only 30 inches wide So see how right there in the dash, to the right of the dashed line is still usable. So
That's
it's really
correct.
just, it's a 30, I mean, it's 30 inches in the dashed part, but it's a few inches to the left there. So it's probably around 3 feet that's required on the wall.
It's gonna be a very unhappy teacher. All right. Make a motion to approve ATP 008, RFI 012 MA3 panel location in North Stratfield for estimated amount of $2,726.
Second that motion.
I got a second on the motion.
Second it.
I think I heard a second from Joe.
I think
All right,
I
any
would-
discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I didn't hear Joe's response, but I believe it was an aye.
Aye. Yes.
There it is. Thank you, sir. All right, pass unanimously. Moving on.
Okay, next one is our ATP 007, RFI 005 conduit configuration to the switchboard. This occurs at North Stratfield and Osborne Hill. It's coming out of the contingency. It is estimated, and the cost of the estimation, the estimate is $5,998.
So you said this was, I don't know, Jesse, you're probably familiar with this RFI, I presume. Or this issue here. Do you want to take the lead on it?
Yes, yet another UI coordination issue. Yeah, they were very interesting interpretation of their requirements here and what had to be done with the switchgear. So they require putting, basically you have your switchgear with the top here. They require putting another basically empty piece on the top that they could put a padlock on because of 4 elbows in the conduit instead of 3. Very strange. We've never heard UI or any other utility require something like this. So it was kind of an odd requirement, but that was what they came in and said, you have to do this.
What does UI have a bunch of new people that?
It's kind of,
Jesus.
I'll use this as kind of like the same as the AHJ experience. It just depends who you get and what they're thinking the day they're out there at the site. And it's the same as when we're talking about having a building official come out to the site, and one building official will say one thing and the other will say something else at a different building. It's kind of the same. It depends on your rep from the utility, and just what happens at that point. I mean, we've spent, we have to have hundreds of emails with UI for this project. And it's like, the whole idea is to coordinate everything you can in design, because that's what we do. And then it's like, you get to CA and they just have all these other requirements come out of the woodwork. And it's like, we've gone through all the requirements, but it's just like their interpretation of their own requirements seems to change.
Okay.
Jeff, if you allow me, I would like to mention that we received final cost for hard number for this one last night. Again, it's too late to revise the ATP, and that cost came out to $2,000 instead of the $5,500 we have projected here. So again, another instance where we are lower.
Magdalene, is that both, that's for both schools? That would be the cost? They're
We
both
only
estimated
received
at
that
just under
for,
6,000.
we only received that for this school that we are on right now.
North Stratfield. So we haven't heard the estimate for Osborne.
No, but it's a similar change. It's the same RFI, so we'll project it should be similar cost.
Same. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody like to make the motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to
You want to bundle?
approve ATP 007 and what's the other one? 004 for stop moving. RFI
I was trying to blow it up.
005 conduit configuration.
Woke me up.
Cost of $5,900 for each school.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Any discussion? Rodney, your mic went quiet again, by the way. Or not again. We're cursed today by it.
Sorry about that.
There you go. I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? Joe or Rodney?
None.
Hearing none. Somebody say something? All right. All in favor of the motion?
All right.
Aye. Joe, you still with us?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
There he is.
Got
Did you
me.
pass the motion?
Yes, aye.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Looking at the text, by the way, Sheila's looking for Mark from Gilbane's last name. So if somebody could type that into the chat, please. All right, moving on. North Stratfield 011.
Yep, R5 40, existing domestic water installation. This is a part of it is the from the abatement that took place, the existing installation on the water pipes that ran down that hallway. The elbows got removed and some of the other straight run insulation got removed also. This is to re-insulate those pipes in that corridor. And as my computer this is the location of the basically the pipe runs. There are 2 to 3 of them between the 3 copper there that need to be insulated. So it's about 150-foot run for 3 pipe lengths, or for 3 pipe diameters.
So were these insulated before?
Yes.
Okay, remind me why we.
This has the ACM abatement.
The abatement.
So Mark, your comment was that the elbows had asbestos, they fixed the elbows in the abatement. And it looks like we only have one picture with whatever 6 or 8 feet of this, but is that was all the insulation removed? So we're replacing the entire 150 feet or whatever the actual dimension is?
No, it's a cut in sections. The photos pretty much show the extent of the work. There's one that shows the corridor where the other half of the corridor still has the insulation.
Mm-hmm.
To the right side, you will see it's like on and off on the insulation. Perhaps you can zoom in right there. Yep. So whatever was hot, that insulation needed to go. And it's on and off for about 175 feet and also turning a little bit to the left on the corridor at the end by the kitchen.
Okay. And what's the expensive part of this? Is it the material, the insulation itself, very expensive? I mean, it seems like a lot of money to do. To do.
The 50-50 is the labor as well. I mean, we have 3 different size pipe that we need to insulate, and we need to buy the box for each size.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ron, you're in the quiet zone again.
Sorry, is that an estimated
Estimated
Yes.
cost, yes.
number or a hard cost?
Estimated cost.
Okay. So we'll start with the motion. We can discuss more. So I'll make a motion to accept ATP 011, which is related to RFI 040, existing domestic water installation for North Stratfield, an estimated amount of $16,358. I have a second on the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Joe can say.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
And
012.
lastly, North Stratfield 12, RFI 28 corridor, utility conflict with ceiling. This is a contingency item. It's estimated. They met on Monday. This ATP was had to do with lowering the ceiling and to avoid the conflict. They met again on Monday to discuss this, and I believe we have a simpler and more cost-effective solution to this.
Yes,
Jesse, I know you were involved in the meeting.
Yeah, this was a, I think, conflict of existing conditions here, that we're trying to find different ways to solve this of a light there in white conflicting with the new ductwork. So we had several different methods of resolving this conflict, and I think the ATP here started with one we think is going to be more expensive. So we went and met with Gobain and talked with Ferguson, the contractor, about doing this a different way that would reduce cost and also end up in a better appearance, so we don't have to lower the ceiling. So I don't think we have final costs yet, but it should be less money, and it should be better, and it should result in no changes in the ceiling height, which will look better inside the school.
Okay.
And it was like one light fixture conflicted. It's not a typical condition. It's like all the other light fixtures are perfectly fine. So this was just like a very specific location occur.
They sent it to you to put out that fire.
Yeah, we're up on that. I think it's coaches involved. It's a little more complicated.
Okay.
You'll handle it.
Mar, you need to mute.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll make a motion to approve ATP 012 RFI 028 corridor utility conflict with ceiling, an estimated cost of $6,107.00.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Certainly hope it comes in. It's an expensive little light fixture we got going there. All right. Hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Osborne Hill, ATP 004, we've already approved. Site restoration, we've already approved. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Out of ATPs.
Woohoo.
Invoice packet from 6/28.
Yes. This is total on this is $201,871.12. It encompasses essentially BL's invoices plus one for Save More. We'll get the easy one out of the way first. Save More is $5,400 for their work in May. They are, I expect a lot more in the next month or two on Save More. But BL companies, this is broken out by Osborne for the regular CA, the vestibule, and for the major for the phase 1 projects right now. And then we have BL Companies pre-con for Tomlinson Ward, Walter Fitzgerald, and Ludlow for the schematic design and estimate.
Let me make a motion.
Ronnie, microphone.
No, I think Rodney's doing his math.
Do BL Companies all inclusive. So I'll make a motion to accept or to approve BL Companies invoices totaling $196,471.12.
I'll second that motion.
Hearing a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Rodney. Joe, so the motion carries to approve the invoices for B&L.
Likewise, I'll make a motion to approve Save More's invoice 006 dated 5/31/2024 in the amount of $5,400.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. Invoice packet for 7/12, which is today, released Wednesday.
7/12 encompasses Gilbane's construction pay application for Osborne Hill, North Stratfield, the North Stratfield roof, and Fairfield Woods. And then we have Gilbane's cost for phase 2 through 5, through schematic design and estimate, and then Collier's project leaders for our June services. Total on the July 12th is $3,934,236.24.
I have a slightly different number. But anyway,
You have a different number for the subtotal?
yeah. My math may be off. I only do that for a living. All right, I'll make a motion. I'll use my number. J11. $3,923,251.22.
Second the motion. Ronnie, can you repeat your dollar amount one more time, please? It was.
I'm
you
sorry?
broke up a bit. Can you just repeat the dollar amount that you came up with?
I'm sorry, 3 million.
Your mic broke out again. Still can't hear you. Still muted, but you're unlegible.
Yeah, let's make the motion.
Okay. Joe, did you get enough information from him? Yeah. Okay. So all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So that was the Gilbane. So I'll make a motion to approve invoice number 961779 to Gilbert's project leaders in the amount of $10,985.02. I got a second.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, ATP's invoices. I have no old business. My notes quick here. Actually, an old business. Any updates on the Park and Rec construction at Fairfield Woods? Is that all? We all good there?
The overlay was sent to Parks and Rec, showing the location of the electrical gear in that location. And Sal, correct me if I'm wrong, the Parks and Rec is good with that. They'll revise to.
Yeah, yeah, as Mark explained, Jesse was nice enough to overlay the design drawings onto their design drawings for their landscaping and little waiting area or bench area. And I just sent it back to Anthony Calabrese and said, you need to have your folks that are doing this relook at their plans because there are conflicts. And he said, thank you very much. He'll give it back to the team. And I haven't heard back from them, but you know, they understand there's a conflict. And they'll go back to the drawing board. And it shortens up the walkway a little bit. You know, they might have to move a bench to the left or the right. There's some modifications to what they were going to do, but I think we can make it all live in harmony.
Okay. That would be part of the whole idea of would be the harmony. So I would hope it doesn't have an auspicious beginning. I mean,
you know, it's a tough location because you know it's one of those things that came up. It's pre-Sandy Hook. The tennis courts are on public land right next to a public library, but on the grounds of a public school, which we don't these days like visitors on our grounds. So it's a tough one. But yeah, we do want it to look nice. Absolutely. It's a very visible location. So yeah, we appreciate the landscaping that they will be doing once they figure it all out.
Very good. Okay. Any other old business, Rodney or Joe? Anything you guys?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to new business. Any new business? I have none. Okay. Hearing none. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.